So not everything goes smoothly in lockdown. I'm going to do this quietly because I don't want it to come across like I'm bragging, but normally if you're in a gym and you pop weights down, maybe a little bit too energetic, nothing happens. But if you're working out in a garden with a patio, this can happen. Not ideal. Luckily they're only about £8 to replace, but it still does not put people in a very good mood if you do that. So the remainder of my workouts shall be spent outside on the tarmac. I'm starting to think I'm like some sort of walking fail video. If I had the camera pointed at me all the time, you should see some weird or annoyingly stupid stuff. Like changing the weight at the moment from a warm-up to a slightly heavier weight. I'll describe this as I'm talking. So, I had this 15 just there. I take the 10 off, step around, go to pick the 15 up, and as I turn, I kick my shin into the end of the bar.
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
And then my leg goes numb, and now kind of funny to balance on, so I'm just having to give it an extra bit of rest before I can even do my set, otherwise I'm going to be slightly off. Epic fail of the day. Oh, and you know there's moments where you're in quite a bit of pain, you need just a second to compose yourself before you can swear. Didn't swear, turned round, and there were a load of kids behind me playing just before they went out for a walk with the parents, so that was what I would call what am I trying to say? That was my good deed for the day. Right, I'm just going to quickly show you how I like to do my, I call it a prone row. You might have seen in a previous video that I used bands and I kept on trying different things, but I've kind of sacked that off. And this is my final sort of iteration of the exercise. So when I was saying in that video that you should just keep trying different variations that are maybe very similar from one another, but still the same exercise, and then whatever you feel best you then run with, and this is my version of that. I've taken some inspiration from Eugene Teo. I went to one of his seminars maybe a couple of years back now, before he got all big Instagram famous and whatnot, and this is going to be all about fully stretching out, and I'll try and do some voiceover while I'm actually doing this and talk about what I'm actually doing. So let's go. Just as I get set up here, what I'm going to do is just explain what I'm doing through this exercise. So I position the lower part of my pecs / sternum to the top of the bench. That gives me a little bit more room for movement when I'm doing the exercise. You can position yourself how you feel most comfortable. But basically, as I go down to the bottom, I'm trying to lengthen out my back as much as I can, stretch the muscles, and then as I come up, squeeze everything together. Again, just lengthen everything out, and then squeeze back together. Now if you notice, when I get to the bottom of this next rep, I'm actually rotating my hands so my palms face out. I'm internally rotating basically. And what that does is how your lats connect. At the bottom, if you're internally rotating, you're just adding that little bit extra to the lats in terms of a stretch. And then as you pull back up to the top, you're then doing the complete opposite. You're turning your palms in to try and squeeze a little bit more emphasis into the back and lats. So that way, out of a simple row, you're able to get, even if it's only minor, you're still getting that little bit extra on stretch and squeeze. And I can't tell you how much different it feels when you're doing a full set like this in comparison to just a normal row. Another thing that I'll quickly touch on is the way I'm breathing. So as I go down, I'm inhaling, and that tries to fill my rib cage and stretch out every part of my back. And then as I then come back up and I'm trying to squeeze, I'm exhaling, trying to get every little bit I can out of the movement. Breathing for different, I breathe differently for different exercises. It could be different kinds of back movements, but depending on what I'm trying to aim for, I'll breathe in or out depending on the position of the exercise. Some things feel really good in a stretch or squeeze when it's breathed in, or vice versa, breathing out. That definitely does the job in frying my back. Everything from mid to upper shot in a good way, not pain or anything like that. Would recommend you try it, tell what you think, drop a comment, and yeah, try it on your next workout. So I've got my hamstring curl set up here with the bands and I should have previously mentioned why I have the blocks underneath the bench. Just zoomed in here so you can see that there are two sort of concrete patio slabs under there, and that just creates a slight angle with the bench that then, if I zoom out, the bench then angles better down towards where the bands are actually coming from, so that just gives a smoother feel for the hamstring curl itself. And then as I'm actually doing the movement, my knees aren't there's not as much pressure of my kneecap against the bench pad, and so it's a little bit more comfortable. And now what I'm going to show you is a little bit of a hack with a little foam roller. So I'm going to place that under my hips, and essentially, say if you had the bands that I have now but they're too hard for you, you can use that foam roller underneath your hips, and what that's going to do is further distance your origin and insertion of your hamstring to make it a little bit easier to do the movement, because obviously there's less peak contraction in the hamstring. So I'll just quickly set that up and show you. So by using the foam roller on the bench and putting your hips on there, that is going to be very similar to what a lying leg curl will feel like from a gym. Because if you notice it, they're never perfectly flat, there's always kind of like a bridge where your hips would be. And then if you remove the hip, the foam roller for the hips, then that's more like if you were using a lying leg curl but you kind of propped up on your elbows, and so you're making your body flat on a bench machine. Play around with it, see what you think. Obviously with the hip pad it's going to be easier, without harder, with the same resistance. So you can maybe even do a drop set. You could do a flat version, take that all the way, and then maybe add a couple of reps here and there with a pad underneath your hips. See what you think. It's basically like 100 kilos of pure fuck me up.